The sailors say, Brandy, you're a fine girl. What a girl.
It sounded like a simple love song. A barmaid, a sailor, and a silver chain carrying a promise that was never meant to be kept. But behind that shimmering 1972 hit, Brandy, You're a Fine Girl, lies something deeper. A story of longing, loyalty, and love surrendered to destiny. It was the song that turned a college band into overnight legends and made one woman, real or imagined, impossible to forget.
And there's a girl in this harbor town, and she works.
Before Brandy became one of the defining songs of the 1970s, it was just a demo from four college kids chasing a dream. The band Looking Glass was born at Rutgers University in New Jersey. Their sound a blend of folk warmth, pop melody, and East Coast grit. Frontman Elliot Lurie, thoughtful and melodic, wrote most of their songs. One afternoon in 1971, he brought in a tune originally titled Randy. Something didn't fit until he changed the name to Brandy. The name carried a certain glow, like sunlight on the sea. They recorded the song in a modest New Jersey studio with no idea what fate had in store. When Columbia Records first heard it, they passed, but destiny intervened. A DC DJ named Harv Moore pulled the song from a pile of rejects, played it once on air, and the phones lit up. The world had just met Brandy, and she was unforgettable.
The sailors say, Brandy, you're a fine girl. What a girl.
Elliot Lurie wrote Brandy alone in his apartment, thinking about the kind of love that feels right, yet can never stay. The story of the barmaid and the sailor wasn't about one real woman, but about a truth he'd seen again and again. Women who loved men born to wander. In the song, Brandy is admired by everyone in her harbor town, but her heart belongs to a sailor who tells her, "My life, my love, and my lady is the sea." That single line became the song's heartbeat, the tender struggle between devotion and destiny. Years later, a rumor spread that Brandy was inspired by Mary Ellis, an 18th century New Jersey woman who waited her whole life for her sailor's return. Elliot denied ever hearing of her, but quietly admitted Brandy wasn't real, but she could have been. And maybe that's what makes the song timeless, that haunting sense of what if.
From far away, but it made it clear they couldn't stay.
Brandy was recorded in early 1972 in a small New Jersey studio, far from the polished Los Angeles sound ruling the charts. The session was simple, a few clean takes, live instruments, and Elliot Lurie's honest, unforced voice. When Columbia Records first heard it, they thought it was too soft for radio and shelved it. Then fate stepped in. DJ Harv Moore in Washington, D.C. found the demo in a pile of rejected tapes and decided to spin it on air. Within minutes, phone lines were jammed. Listeners demanded to know who sings that Brandy song. Columbia rushed to release it, and by August 1972, Brandy, You're a Fine Girl, had soared to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, outpacing Elton John and the Rolling Stones. Ironically, some confused it with another track, Brandy by Scott English, later renamed Mandy by Barry Manilow. For Looking Glass, it was both a miracle and a burden, success that arrived like a wave and vanished just as fast.
When it told this sailor's story, she could feel the ocean.
For decades, Brandy, You're a Fine Girl floated through time like a message in a bottle, rediscovered by each new generation. Its soft rock charm inspired countless bands such as Orleans, Ambrosia, and Firefall, who carried on its blend of storytelling and melody. Then, 45 years later, Brandy found her way back to pop culture when James Gunn featured the song in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, 2017. Gunn called it the soul of the movie, using it to mirror Star-Lord's mother, a love bound by fate, not choice. After the film's release, streams of Brandy spiked over 600%, introducing millions of new listeners to her bittersweet tale. Elliot Lurie, now older but still proud, once said, "Every time Brandy comes back, it's like she's walking into that bar all over again." Some songs fade with time, but Brandy, it seems, never leaves.
There's a girl in this harbor town, and she works.
When Brandy hit #1, Looking Glass suddenly found themselves thrust into a spotlight they'd never prepared for. They toured the country, filling venues, but every crowd wanted one thing: that song. Their follow-up single, Jimmy Loves Marianne, managed to reach the top 40. Yet the magic of Brandy was impossible to repeat. As the pressure grew, so did the tension. The fame they had dreamed of became the weight that pulled them apart. By 1974, the band quietly dissolved, each member drifting in new directions. Elliot Lurie launched a solo career, then moved into film music in the 80s and 90s, scoring for movies, still creating, still chasing melody. He once said, "No matter what I do, people remember me as the guy who wrote Brandy." He said it not with bitterness, but with pride, because sometimes one perfect song really is enough to last a lifetime.
The sailors say, Brandy, you're a fine girl.
Long after the spotlight faded, Brandy, You're a Fine Girl, kept drifting back through radio airwaves, movie soundtracks, and the quiet nostalgia of those who lived through the summer of 1972. It became one of those rare songs that doesn't age. It simply waits to be found again. On classic rock stations, it still plays beside legends like Fleetwood Mac, America, and Seals and Crofts, holding its own with a quiet, enduring grace. For each listener, Brandy means something different. A memory of first love, a lost summer, or someone they never quite forgot. Even younger generations, hearing it for the first time, feel that same bittersweet pull. Because the sea never stops calling, and Brandy never stops waiting.
In this harbor town, and she works, laying whiskey down.
Half a century later, Brandy, You're a Fine Girl, still feels like a postcard from another life, one filled with salt air, jukebox glow, and hearts left waiting at the harbor. It reminds us that love can be real, even when it doesn't last, and that some stories never truly end. For that one golden summer in 1972, Looking Glass captured something eternal, the ache of love and the beauty of letting go. They may have vanished from the charts, but not from memory, because one song was enough to make Brandy immortal, forever standing behind the bar, smiling softly, loving a man who belonged to the sea. And each time her melody plays again, we pause and remember what it means to love someone you could never keep.
The sailors say, Brandy, you're a fine girl.